Okay.
You just like to Zoom, but not reason.
Yeah.
You were throwing her in the deep end. See if she can come out.
I was going to say. Gotta start somewhere.
Well, actually.
Can you guys hear us?
Actually, we asked Linda to sit in because what we're going to
Anyone
talk
else in the
about
meeting?
today in terms of the new proposal format is what we're moving to for all products and services that we sell. So personal lines will have a proposal that looks and feels exactly like this. Its content will draw from different places. That benefits will have a proposal that looks and feels just like this. Its content will draw from different places. And so I want their feedback as we go along on things that are going to be meaningful content-wise, but I want them to get familiar with what the presentation is, what the look is, what the feel is for the signature proposal going forward. Okay, so any comments, questions, or Snyder marks, they're welcome. Well, maybe not so much on the Snyder marks, but
Okay, so any of the remote folks there, or did you just join the meeting and go to lunch? We went to lunch. Okay.
Okay, cool.
That's Mars. That's Mars, the assistant. And Rowan.
Kyle, you'd have a little hack mark through your microphone on the participants deal.
There was an option. It wasn't grayed out, though. Let me see. Like you have an option to mute it.
Okay.
I don't think it's muted. Yeah. So we're good. Okay. We'll go in a minute. Okay. So, thanks for coming, everyone. We're going to go over a few things today. Primarily, we're just going to go through the first few pages. We want to take our time with this, make sure everyone's comfortable, because there's a lot of new information on the new proposal. But what this is primarily going to be focused on is actually how to manipulate and work things within Word. Because Word is how we manipulated and got the proposal to the point it is now. So we're going to go over just a few things. One quick thing, if you have your email open, this was Brad. An interesting project for a whole bunch of reasons. We had some old code in our proposal. It took us a while to get that straightened out. But one of the things we found, having to get this proposal to work with Office, we have some people 2003, some people 2007, some people 2010. You have to have, we're not going to leave this up very long if it keeps doing that. You have to have Word open in the background. And I don't want you guys to actually have two copies of Word running. So what you can do, and we'll help you with this. Most people, this is how this is set up already. So you shouldn't need to make any changes.
So we don't need to know how to do what you're doing right now.
If you're interested and just want to eat your chips and kind of space out for a minute. So let's go to options.
Thomas is speaking. We can't hear him.
Thomas?
Yeah.
Does he need to unmute?
I'm not sure.
Because he was trying to speak and nothing came out.
I heard something. Can anyone hear us remotely? Can you guys hear us now?
Can you send me an email and respond that way? I'll know.
Promise Cal does know how to run this thing.
Hey, can you guys hear us? Thomas?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Good. Okay.
They're probably just messing with you.
Yeah, he's good at that. So, let's get out of here. Okay, we'll go over this later. You guys don't need to do this. We're going to do it for you. But what I'm doing is I want to show you guys some things inside this separate Word document because I want to go over a couple things real quick about just a little bit of familiarity with Word. It's funny and I've told this story, so you guys just have to bear with me. Already in a couple training classes where in the bad economy, people weren't buying a lot of new equipment. So consultants who used to walk into agencies and sell them dual screens or sell them something else that they tried to convince them they thought they needed, people weren't spending money, but they still wanted to make money from the consulting hours. So what their gimmick was about a year and a half ago is to walk into agencies and cut the mice. To go in and actually remove the mice from everyone's computers in the office, and it increased efficiencies by like 17% because you can really navigate much quicker with a keyboard than you can with a mouse. A mouse, when you're doing repetitive work, actually slows you down quite a bit. Now, we're not going to cut your mice, but in doing that, I want to go over a couple. Quick points. Okay, so I see a lot of people when they're trying to select something. So let's say that you want to get this word and you just get a piece of it. If you double click, that highlights it. And so that's a nice thing if you want.
You need a mouse to double click?
You do need a good point. You need a mouse to double click. But if you want to copy that and you click it wrong, you can use your keyboard, hit Control C, Control V is to paste. And that's very handy, especially as you're tabbing throughout documents. You know, and if you do something and you make a mistake, hit Control V again, and you just screwed that up and you don't want to save what you were doing, does anybody know how to undo what you just did?
Click the undo button.
Up there.
Or you could
That's one way
just
to do it, or
you could hit Control Z.
Is there some kind of a printout of all the control functions?
I could put together a little one and
That
shoot
would
it
be
out.
That's a really good suggestion.
Yeah.
Undo which way?
What's that?
Undo which way? Back?
Control Z undoes.
Undo.
Backwards.
The other way is to redo.
And there's also the arrow at the
Control
top.
V
there.
keeps doing.
Yeah, just hit that.
Another thing that I see happening a lot is people get their face about an inch from the screen, and
I don't appreciate that.
they're looking for something. Does anybody
Because
know
it's
how?
minute.
Does anyone know how to find a word inside or a phrase inside of a document or a web page?
No.
Gary, how do you do it?
Control F.
Very good. So if you hit Control F, and this works on the internet just as well as it does in a document, I want to find the word object. It's going to take me to object, and if I keep hitting enter, it's going to keep going. There's only 2 of them, but if there was more, it would just keep going down and down and down. That's a big time saver if you're looking for things.
Especially if you misspell one word and forget to do it over and over and over again.
And then you get to the find and replace functions.
Yeah.
Which,
Doesn't matter.
Another thing I see, especially with TAM, you go into a different area, and let me do this actually inside TAM. Let's go to clients and files. Let's just go into this person. This works in Word and lots of other places, but I don't see people using the home and the end function. Does anyone know what the home and end functions do?
Nope.
But everyone who's nodding has food in their mouth. So
And
home takes you to the beginning of the line. So I see people scrolling. Sometimes you're in a field that has hundreds of characters, and I see people with the shift arrow or with their mouse trying to scroll all the way back over. Just hit home, and if you want to get to the end of the line, just hit end, and it's going to take you to the end of the last character. So that comes in pretty handy when you're trying to navigate through something. Another thing that Comes in very handy. Is page up, page down. It's much faster than scrolling down. It's way quicker. So, does anybody have any questions about that? That's just a few shortcuts, and we'll email those out after the meeting so everybody's got them. Okay, so most of the people in here are on Office 2010, and it's a little bit of a shock. It's a little bit of an adjustment to get used to Office, especially Word 2010. What's the one thing that moved and is in a different place than it used to be when you're working inside of a Word document inside Applied?
Where you save it.
Save and exit. Okay, so let's actually go to a document. Actually, I probably should have started this a few
You know
minutes.
what, and another thing on those control keys, you can do Control C and get a new page if you want to bring up a new, Control Enter, I mean.
Oh, I didn't know that. Very
Control
cool.
Enter to get it.
Control Enter gets a new page.
Yeah, to bring a new page into your document. It's Control something, but I do it so quick, you know, sometimes you forget what you're doing.
You know, we were talking about.
It's exactly it.
Really?
Yeah,
I resemble
it's like when you do things so automatically that you forget.
It's just second nature.
Uh-huh.
What the heck? But you don't want to do the end of it? Okay, just for time.
You do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I just didn't know if you want to take that much time watching it pull.
Yeah, I've got lots of hot air in me today, so I've got other things to talk about while it's running.
You guys are like an old married couple.
No, you told me you didn't want to waste that time, and then you did anyway. So I'm just asking.
So anyways, I'm going through right now and I'm pulling the new proposal. And we're going to be, one of the things that we're going to be using is the first name dot last name format for the sig.us. And then just hit the last two characters. Okay.
So hang on a second. Just for the guy who doesn't do this. That is something we have to do on proposal. That's something we enter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to enter the CSRs, the producer.
Well, for now,
Because it's different on everybody's. It's not the same on everybody's account. Some accounts are coded to the benefits department originally and then pull from the benefits, but you're in the package and that's not what you're presenting. Your agent is going to be Melody instead of Mavis. So if you do that.
So it can't pull from the producer that's like coded on that billing screen?
it could. One of
It
the
doesn't do that because that takes me forever to get through those.
Well, you can see right now, this does take a while to even just get set up. One of the things that we're going to be doing is, if you look in the producer, there's no information, there's no way to get their fax and their email address and their telephone number, but one way that we found we could do this about a week ago, and it's going to take me some time because I have to go through every single producer, is in their setup screen. We can go in, because there's nowhere in the billing screen or on the policy where you put that information on each producer, we can set it up and program it, but that's for next month.
Yeah, and there's no place for the account managers either. There's no place for to grab from.
I have my own document for my producers in Word that I just pull in. I don't even pull out of the proposal, so I don't have to retype that stuff all the time.
Could we do
Well,
that?
that's kind of the purpose
Just copy
of.
and paste it? Create it one time and then just copy and paste it every time in there?
You can totally just copy and paste it. That's how I put it in there.
Oh, so you do a real proposal, then you copy and paste the information from another document?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it's in there.
As long as it's
It's
just
a
being.
part of the actual proposal. It's not just within separate page in the paper copy.
Okay.
If we're using that format and we just create it one time and copy and paste it onto our desktop or whatever and just copy and paste it every time and create a new proposal.
It depends on,
Yeah, that's true. For those of you that are working predominantly
agent, yeah.
with one or two producers, that's probably not a bad workaround. I think that when.
Because this is time consuming.
I agree.
Look at you still doing it.
I'm done. Took about 2 minutes.
The
But
benefits and the life and all that pulls in. You set it up already to pull in. It's just the CSR and the producer's information.
and this is default. If you're working with a different life person or a different personal lines person, it's just
You
default.
can edit all this, right?
Yeah, you can just hit backspace and it'll go away.
Yeah, I don't like that Debbie McKinley. So.
We'll show how to delete a row later.
How do we
tell
get rid of Brad Setkoff?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I've been trying for years.
Funny you should
I don't
mention
know.
that. Right after this.
What happens if you don't show up for work the day before?
Exactly. That'll teach him.
That's a conspiracy.
Yeah. No, it's just gonna.
Yeah, so it's just going to go on for a while, but while, and see, I can't show them how to do the,
What is happening here?
It's pulling what he asked for.
it's pulling all
That's what
the
it does
information off the
every time.
Accord forms.
Did it really take this long?
Yeah.
Well, no, not if you only have certain
Sometimes
things.
longer.
He's pulled in
Depends
almost
on how
everything.
much you pulled. Oh.
These sections.
I pulled almost all the sections
See, that's
except
why I
for.
said not to pull all the sections, but he.
It's okay.
He's like a kid in an elevator.
Yeah.
He has to touch
He
every
has to touch
button.
every button. But no, it doesn't always take this long. It just depends on what you choose.
You ever seen the movie Elf?
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Mhm.
Is where he hits all the buttons.
It's almost done. Okay, so it doesn't take that long, people. Now, just to put in perspective, when I was at the Applied Conference this year and going through these 2 days of classes to update the code and fix everything, there were a lot of agencies who, over the past few years, either couldn't afford a consultant or didn't want one, and their proposals ended up breaking. So for those of you that write large accounts and you want your property schedules and your vehicle schedules, imagine not having that. Even though the proposal wasn't pretty the last few years, at least it worked. So it still comes in very handy. So first thing I want to do is, see, right now it's a little cumbersome with Word 2010. You have to go to the add-ins button, go to applied, and so there's an extra step. So what you can do,
When you go to Applied, what do you do there?
you can save and exit
Oh, I
when
see.
you want to
Okay.
save it to the account. So wow, that's really starting to
Put it on your
trick.
toolbar.
Patty, that's what I'm about to show. Okay, so click on this little button, and then you have an option for more commands. And under more commands, the applied piece is an add-in. So you can scroll down, go to the add-ins tab, and it's under the menu command. So just select add and hit OK. So now, if you want to apply save and exit, it's just right here. So it's a little easier to get to. Does anybody have any questions about that?
I will, but.
Could you do that one more time? I'd
Yeah,
like to see that.
Okay, well, okay, let's do that. Let's click right here. And this is what you can also do, quick print email, but you can also select more commands. These are just the most popular ones. And then you find the menu that you want to take it from, and that's the add-ins tab. And from there, you just have to know that, this is the tricky part, you have to know that the applied save and exit is under the menu.
Would you? Can you drop down on the right there where it shows? Does that tell us
No.
what's in there? No.
Yeah, it
When you
doesn't.
guys install it, you ought to just put it on the computer, when you put it on someone's computer.
Okay.
Or someone put it on mine when mine changed over because I didn't have that and they just did it.
For people who've asked, we have set it up, but if anybody doesn't see that or doesn't want to call, some people are very independent. So anyways, that's how you do it. And you can also do other things. You can do more commands. You can do, if you draw tables a lot, if you change font color a lot, and you want these to be available in no matter what tab you're in Office 2010, these are all available. So you guys can play around with it, and if you break it, give us a call.
If you break it, you buy it. Is that what you were
We
going to
probably will break it, so.
say? That's all right.
That's what it's
That's
there
how we
for.
learn.
Experiment with it.
That's
It's
what it's there
fun.
for.
Okay, so let's go back to the proposal. Okay, so one of the things that some of you have been doing, which looks great, is in taking a customer logo off of a website. Now, some people are doing it and it looks great. Other people aren't doing it, and other people are putting it in and it looks horrible. So we're going to go over a couple quick steps on what the best practice is for getting a logo in here. So let's look for Joe's Coffee.
Interesting
With
spelling.
money.
Yeah.
Joe's the art of coffee.
Okay, so that's a pretty good sized logo. You want to make sure that you're picking a logo. You're not picking this little one. You're not picking one that's hyperlinked most of the time. You want to look for a good size, clear logo. Okay? And then what you want to be doing in your mind when you're putting it in is I would really leave the size alone unless it's too big. But if you scrunch it too much, that also makes the graphics look bad. So try to leave the proportions alone. And then we're going to do this real quick. Right click, save picture as. That's the easiest thing to do. Just right on the logo. And let's see here. Pictures, let's do a new folder. All the
Can we
time.
just do it on our desktop?
You could, but that's messy. I mean, you're going to probably want to write.
Delete it.
You could, but you might want to save logos for your clients. You might want to do something later for them and put their logo on something you do for them later in the year. So, just an option. If you want to save
the
it.
folder in your document.
So a logos folder.
Okay. So
I just did a
create
folder in the pictures folder.
In the pictures.
Because when you save a picture, it drops you into the pictures folder. So, okay, so now that we've got that, let's go back to the Word doc. To
Is there
the
a way to do that without the mouse and the right click?
sure, you can use the tab buttons, but it's you know. Okay, so
You anxious to get rid of your mouse?
No, it just seems the push is to get rid of my mouse, so I'm just nervous about that.
we're never going to get rid of your mice. Don't worry about that. All I was trying to demonstrate is that there is some speed and efficiencies, you know, with using the keyboard. You know, not always scrolling things with your mouse. So
Okay, as long as my mouse is safe.
your mouse is very safe.
Thank you.
Especially, and where the lack of mouse tends to work out best is when you're inside something like TAM, where you're just moving from one field to another. Tabs are very quick. But if you are scrolling on the internet, you're doing other things, that's a very cumbersome way to try to get around.
I have another question about that. What you just did with pulling the logo. I've been pulling the signature logo off of our website by just copying and pasting it. I've never saved it anywhere because you can do that. But I've noticed on my clients I cannot do that on their logos. Like they're locked or secured or something.
There's different ways that you can write the coding on a website. Especially if they're doing some kind of product, sometimes people don't want their products copied or
their logo.
Trademark risk,
so
infringement.
Like I tried it just like on the one renewal I just did. I couldn't get their logo with my life dependent on it off there, and it was locked and secure. It was like no access. I went to different sections, thinking maybe they let it loose. You know, it wasn't all guarded in another section of that website. Couldn't get it, but ours, anybody can copy it.
We're not trademarked.
well, there's a lot of different. Well, it's not just
It's
trademarking.
a logo. It's not a trademark.
Yeah, so it's, you know, there's with us, with a company that's doing marketing and professional services, we want our, you know, the people, if we do a golf event or if we do something, we want them to have a copy of our logo so they could do things with it. I have seen that, you know, it's not, I wouldn't say it's 50% of the time, but you can also contact the client directly and ask them for a logo, but it's up to, you know.
I was just curious, just like I said, because like the last 5 or 6 proposals I have done, I've not been able to get my clients' logos.
Have you tried the save picture?
I did right click and copy was an option, but when I think like if you looked at Orange County Rectors right now,
Let's
just
do
see if
that.
you
Okay.
can grab their logo. It's just ocerectors.com.
Okay.
It's an ugly logo, but I guess that's beside the point.
Yeah, you can only copy attractive logos.
Yeah, maybe that's why it's just open.
There's a filter.
Yeah, see, this is part of a flash, so that's
Yeah, that's
yeah.
not
You
gonna
won't
copy.
you won't be able to copy that because that's actually part of a movie. I would try to go to another part of it. Wow, they did flash on there.
That's what I did. I couldn't find it.
Wow. That's
But
a
now,
thing.
if you look at like Nakasi Brothers, I can't get theirs either.
Okay, so let's try this. There's a couple things we could do. See, the movie stops eventually. And then once the movie stops,
So you have to just be really creative.
Yes.
That's what this class is all about, trying to find new ways to make things look better. And okay, so now I'm going to put this in my pictures.
Copied
And
it and pasted it with it. How did
Go
you
back
do
in
that?
here.
Where you
let's go back to the other client. Let me just save this because I want to show something real quick.
Logos folder.
Okay, so let's call this OCE. Now, another thing, have you guys seen when people are doing logos and there's a white background to it? That sometimes the white background, when you paste the logo in, will get kind of fuzzy and it'll look ugly. One of the big reasons is because it's a JPEG. It's the way that the JPEG works with white colors. So if you're saving a logo and it's got a little bit of white in it, it's good to save it as a GIF. It'll just look better, and I'll show you another trick afterwards. But GIFs are the easiest. They
Is that
don't.
because the Joe's in white letters, does that make it white?
No, it's kind of like a light.
background.
It's kind of light blue. Like I think it's just most people who've been doing web things for a while, they know their logo is going to look better if it's in a GIF file. So they've got smarter web guys. So let's just put this here. And what's the other website?
Nakasi? I think it's, I don't know. Yeah, you can just Google it.
That's not it. It's
Oh, it didn't.
It's down there. Most owners.
That's it.
sweet.
That little leaf thing.
The
This-
leaf.
So if you right click, save picture as.
Okay.
Um,
You know, on
see what
ours,
you
you
get.
can just
See what
right
you
click
get.
and do copy.
yeah, you don't want
That
to.
wasn't even an option there.
Where'd it
Since you
go?
got-
Let's
Where'd
see.
it go?
What's that?
Let's
Where'd
see.
it go?
Okay, one person at a time here. Okay.
You got the
So
whole picture.
yeah, I got. See, if you're copying, this is what I'm trying to explain is you don't want to just copy this and put it in Word. You want to save it as a file and then insert the file as a picture. That helps with the formatting quite a bit. And you're limited. You can't copy everything off of a web page because there is security and different things. But now let's go back into my documents, my pictures. And Tina thinks it disappeared, so I'm going to show her. It's still here. And there's her logo. So now let's go and let's go back here. And now we're going to go back to the Insert tab, Picture, Proposal.
Nikasi and Joe's.
I'm just showing,
Still
so.
Nakasi.
And there's another trick I want to show you guys. If you still, there's times where you run across.
Does that look centered though? Looks kind of crappy like that.
Well, what I would do is I'd add an indent here. I mean, I'd put another
Yeah, you can.
line there, and that would look better. And the Joe does look
Still-
bad because
It still moved too far to the left of the Nakasi brothers. I think what she's referring to.
It's because of the
Take your
picture.
high. Yeah. See
well,
where
it's because of their logo. It's
Yeah.
you can actually swing to the far right. Sorry, go back to your box. Far right. Put your cursor over that middle box. Left click and pull it in.
but that'll change the whole logo, and
Right.
that's one thing we don't want to do.
I see.
So what we
Can't hit the center button?
there's a couple things you could do. So now we don't like what we just did. So how are we going to undo it?
Control
There you go, Control Z. Okay, so one thing that we have heard from clients is people think it's kind of cool when their logo shows up on the proposal, but people get pissed off when their logo is all jacked up and scrunched up and stretched out and faded. And so
They spent money developing.
yeah, and so, okay, so there's a couple different things we can do. Let's do this. We can align it right. That's the first thing I would do. And it doesn't do anything because of how big it is. So let's do this. Let's click off of it. I'm just going to open this little guy here. Click on the rectangle button. And I'm going to draw a rectangle around it. That's good enough. Save, and what are we going to save it as? GIF.
Something else.
So OC2
It's
GIF.
not Kasi though. It's not OC.
Oh, good call.
It's the NB.
NB. Okay,
2.
sure. Okay, so now let's go back to the proposal. Select that, delete it. Go back to the centering. Insert picture. this nice new one. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Better.
Way better.
Yeah, I didn't like it on the
Yeah, so there's,
So go do that again for me. I wanna, how did you get to,
He's gonna mess around.
Couldn't you just drag that, like John said, drag that thing over and have the box
but like you
smaller
said,
than
that
mid-center?
what happens is you start messing with the proportions of their logo and sometimes it gets
stretches
scrunched
it
up.
okay, good question though. I'd like to, so let's say this is too big. It's too wide or too tall. You never want to grab it by this box right here or this box right here. You want to keep the proportion. So if you want to make it a little bit bigger, grab it in the corner, and this will keep the proportions and stretch it out. Okay? So, but don't do it too much because that'll mess with the pixels and it'll start looking ugly. But if you ever want to resize, never click these. That's why all of John's proposals have long stretched out names on them. So these you don't want to use
No,
on
I
a
shortened them
picture.
up. I tried to get really crunched in there.
So there's another thing you can do. If you print it out and it looks
Where was
big.
that rectangle box again?
That's what I wanted them to do.
Okay,
It
so
was in the pictures.
it's in the, actually it's
You did it
Print
in
screen
print
button.
key?
print key. Yep, so I did print key. And I don't,
Oh my god.
I use this a lot. I mean, I use this all day long. I click on the rectangle because I don't need someone to see my whole page. Sometimes I'm sending something to someone. Let's say we just want to take our address. You've got to kind of eye it up with your eye. Click once, hold it down, and let go. Then it's right there. Then just save it.
So you did print, you went down
Double
to that
clicked on
print
print key. Yeah.
Then you clicked on that
Rectangle.
and then you
Once it's
had
here,
it.
when you look, you like how it looks. Click save.
Okay.
It's the same button as your print screen button. Now you hit it up here, or you click the one down there. Either place. You're used to the print key button. Same button.
Yeah, 'cause we're looking at-
Yeah, yeah. 'Cause it's a print button. Same.
So
Two options.
one last thing too I want to go over is if you print this out and it doesn't look good, most of the time a GIF will look just fine. See, it's when you're doing things, when you're doing a header and footer, one of the odd things about Office 2010 is all of a sudden we have this pink tab that popped up over here. Because now that we're messing with a picture, it knows we might need some picture tools. So let's go over here and I think it's under, yep, recolor. So go to Picture Tools, highlight it, go to Picture Tools, Recolor, and set transparent color, and then click on any part of the white. And you're done. And that way there's no, I'll do it again,
I'm
Just,
just curious what it was doing because it looks
Because
like
the
You-
white
you
is
can't-
kind of funky, is that why?
haven't you guys seen that when you copy a logo and there's like purple? It looks like there's like purple in the white part.
We've done a lot of that.
Okay, well, you guys might run into that. The people who've done it a lot
So
have
you have to do that every time
You-
you have a white background? Oh, you should.
I would just to make sure, or especially if you print it out, just to look at it and give it to the producer,
So
you'll
you
see
did
it.
recolor and then what'd you?
Yeah, I clicked on. So first I highlighted the picture, went to Picture Tools, went to Recolor, set transparent color,
And then clicked on
and then
white.
clicked on any part of the white.
Okay.
So, and this is important too. If you guys want some extra training, I would be happy to go into the small conference room at lunch one day, and just if you want to just grab 3 or 4 people, or get together and there's like, we want to go over these 4 things, we can do that too. So I know we've got a lot to get over in this class, and some of this is new. But we don't expect to have this one class. We're gonna have at least 2 more classes on proposals. But we're definitely available for other times too.
This is huge. I've learned a lot today. Thank you.
That's why I always make fun of your proposals. Yeah.
So what happens to us people who don't have the 2010? Maybe is there a way to do this with this?
Yes, there is. You don't have the. You have some of it, and to be honest with you, I'd have to check for the recolor. I didn't start doing recolor until 2007, and so eventually everybody's going to be on 2010, though. There's just a few holdouts who don't want to get thin clients.
Hey.
So, anyways, this is just the beginning, and then obviously click off of it, and that's part of your document now. So let's scroll down a little bit. One thing that's important is if you are putting a logo in, please take a second to make sure that this doesn't happen. That goes on top of the signature. We spent a long time. Robert did a great job designing the signature logo, and we'd like to be able to see it. So,
Why's your name on there?
because I'm
It's all about
doing the
him.
class.
It's all about him.
Producer.
Thinking about himself sometimes.
So whoever's presenting it.
Yeah, whoever's presenting it.
You're the producer?
For ZZ Code.
Okay, so we put the logo in, and look what happened. We got a second cover page here.
Because it moved
blank.
it from
Yep. So how do I get rid of this?
Delete.
Very good. Delete. Let's see if it goes away. There we go. Okay. So now let's go back up. I probably should have did that backwards.
Yeah.
Do you guys have our license number on there?
Yep, right there.
You have to have a magnifying glass to read it.
I don't see it.
Well, I could say you have to have a magnifying glass to read it, Gary.
It's there.
It's right there under BSIB, SBICIAG.
It's whatever license number your entity has.
Under the logo, got it.
You see them? They're reading.
So basically,
I didn't know that's what that
the
was.
way that this is going to work when
You can't read it on a 120-inch screen.
I can't.
And I can't
My
either.
glasses on, so that's very
Are you
scary.
guys hiding something or what here?
We're gonna get the rules with the
when you
magnifying
print it
glass.
out, you can read it. One of the things that's going to be changing is if it's a Saddleback producer, the Saddleback logo is going to come up. We're waiting to get the finalized logos on that. BSW, IAG, so these are going to match right here. So, but right now, just the Brachychaftnets is working. So, does anyone know what this is?
Nothing.
Excuse me, this is Christine. I have a question.
Okay, Christine.
On putting the logos, are we getting permission from the clients to put their logos on the proposal?
What was the question?
Well, if they're really super.
What was the question?
The question, she asked whether or not we should be getting permission from the clients to use their logos. If somebody doesn't want us to use their logos, it's really easy to stop it on the website, and I haven't heard anyone complaining. I've heard them complaining that the logo looked bad when it was smashed onto our proposal, but I haven't heard any good-looking logo capture complained about. Has anyone else?
I've never used it.
I've never used it.
I put ours on because we didn't have anything that had that on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just followed the procedure of what we're supposed to do.
Ask them for a copy of their
Yeah, some people have been doing it for a long time. Benefits has been doing it for years, and I've never heard that. But
But they have two people and that's all they do is
But-
proposals.
yeah,
That's
So-
not all they do, but that's one of their functions.
I'm putting them in
That they do.
more and more. And I haven't had a problem yet, but you never know. You might have that one person that might have a cow about
If you're
it.
worried about it, just ask them to email you a copy of their logo.
Yeah. If you start doing that and collecting their logos and putting it in that one file, then you won't have to go out and grab it. That's true, but I guess as we update our files, it might be a way of updating your accounts. Hey, can I confirm your email, your website address, and can you send me your logo? Maybe just kind of start building your files.
and while we're asking for you to do it, we're not demanding that it's done. So if we don't have, it's not like don't present the proposal if it doesn't have a logo. So we don't have to have logos on them. So I think I heard Ron when I asked what this is. It's a table. Very good. Ron, that's kind of feminine, but okay.
What?
Was that Ron's voice? When I-
It was not him.
okay, that's what I thought. I
Yeah,
didn't.
okay, it was Carol.
Ron's got a very manly voice, so I was surprised. Okay. So, does anyone know?
I don't know, that whole thing, I still haven't gotten the image of him at Halloween several years ago in the belly dance.
Oh, yeah.
Out of my head. It just, you caused me more nightmares than I can possibly.
You had Jemima this year.
Okay, so with this setup, you may run into a situation where you have more than 10 categories, 10 sections. So does anyone know how you would add a 10th and it would automatically renumber and keep the spacing and everything else? Tab.
Return.
Yeah, return actually, yeah.
Yeah.
No?
At the end,
That's
it
the
said,
end of the line.
Yeah, I'm on the end.
and
Oh,
You're in the middle.
It's
Well, that's
centered.
centered.
Take the center one.
Well, you tell us. You created this thing.
Okay, I got to make a note. Something's not
Yeah, what
working.
happened to that? It worked,
He broke it already.
it worked the other day.
It was working.
Kyle, it did work for him the other day.
Yeah.
Something happened.
What happened?
What's that?
That is the end of the bar.
It is. It's just center aligned. So even if I was to tell it to line up over here and tab out, there's something wrong with the table. I got to fix
It
it.
worked the
so.
other day.
Can't you go to table tools and then layout?
You could highlight it.
I like
Yeah,
copy
you
limit.
could Control C and then just copy it and Control V and then just
oh yeah, can you insert a row?
yeah.
Okay. But it
Yeah, you could go in here. There's a couple different ways you do it, but you should just be able to hit tab. So
Yeah.
I'll fix that for you.
It did work for you the other day, so I'm going to give you
Yeah,
credit for
not
that.
enter.
Enter, not tab.
Yeah, see, it's something with the coloring, so I got to fix
What
it.
happens if you enter rather than tab?
It just brings it down one more line.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's a good point. This is something that I use all the time when I'm creating documents or messing with documents because there's spacing issues, and as you're moving things around, one thing you might want to see are your paragraph markers. And this also gives you, like, for example, to make sure all your spacing's correct, let's say you've made a bunch of changes, this will show you every place that there's a space. See the small dots that are here?
Yeah.
So, this is I keep this on all the time, but it drives some people crazy. And to turn that on and off, you just hit the paragraph symbol. But it'll let you know,
Page breaks.
it'll show you the page breaks, the section breaks, everything else. So, okay, so now that I screwed up the table of contents, we'll move on to servicing team.
You'll be able to do it in that too.
You know what? I want to do it in the named insured, or in the notepad actually, because there's room. Okay, let's say we talked about this a little bit in the meeting. I think Tina asked, how can we get a PDF inside of a Word document? Now, the tricky thing about a PDF is it isn't like a normal picture. It's not an image. It's not a GIF or a BMP or anything else because it has multiple layers. And I don't want to get too geeky on it, but there's security features. There's other things besides the image that are in a PDF file. So if you want to insert a PDF into, like, let's just do it. Let's just say we want to grab, I'll show you what happens. Insert a picture, and let's go to the documents and find a PDF.
Let me get that one from Kate.
And let's see. I don't know what you're talking about, but
There's a whole thing of PDF files. You just
did I? Where?
it said PDF. It was labeled PDF files.
Let's see what's going to be in there.
Hmm.
Oh, well,
I think he's
that
afraid to
was
click on stuff because you never know what's in the files.
Okay, here's one. Here's one. Okay,
Come on,
good.
what does it say?
It's just a report. Okay, so let's go ahead and insert it. And which one do you guys want to pick?
How did you do that?
It's not right, so I don't want you to pay too much attention. I just went to insert a picture and I grabbed a PDF. And as soon as you grab a PDF, it knows that it's not a picture. So how about a computer graphics meta file?
How do we know?
See, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work, and if you insert any of these, it's not going to work. You have to click on all files. I don't want you to pay too much attention. I'm just trying to show you it doesn't work, and it's going to ask you what kind, and it just breaks. So in order to insert a PDF, and I want to undo it, what do I do? There you go. Okay. We want to actually insert an object. If we want to grab a multi-layer document or image and put it into a Word file. So we're going to select Object and then select Adobe Acrobat Document. And then there's some DB reports.
Can you just select part of it, or do you have to select the whole PDF?
Good question. Using exactly what we used for, and I'm going to show you why that's actually a better option. I just want to show you how it looks when you put a PDF in. I'm a little nervous right now. I don't know if that is a 100-page PDF or a 1-page PDF, but even if it's just a 1-page PDF, you're going to see what happens when you put a PDF into a Word document.
It's messy.
Okay, so this one doesn't look too bad. It's just a couple pages. Yeah, this one looks fine. This is luckily just
But
two
like our
pages.
traveler's quotes are PDFs, and sometimes you will want to copy the term.
You can't, I don't.
Yeah, you can. I've
Oh,
done
you
it.
can?
I've done it.
Yeah.
I
And
can't
it-
copy parts. I
It
used to be able to.
messed my proposal. I got
Did you
lost.
save it as a PDF itself?
No, that's when it like errored and I lost my proposal and I was having to fit.
This is okay. That's okay. Now,
Tape that and then you show them how to do it.
Is that what that screaming was?
well, that's a good question.
Said shit! That's what I was saying!
Slamming you down.
Okay, so this is and this
Slam it over here.
there's a
Don't
couple
hold anything
people.
back. I mean, just get it out.
There's a couple people who've had this problem where they've been copying something from a PDF or trying to copy a part of a PDF. They try and paste it in a table and it breaks their proposals. And it's a few people who it happens to over and over and over again. This and again.
Stop looking at me.
So this is one way to do that, to actually put it inside, because it's not something you can really drag and drop. It's a multi-layer file. It's, what you could do also, let's say there's just a paragraph or a part of a page that you want to grab. What could you use? The print key. Let's say, imagine this is a PDF and we just want to grab the top part and go to rectangle.
Oh, so I could have done it that way and not
You
messed
could
up my whole file.
not messed up your whole document, and so there you
I would
go.
have taught me,
He's teaching you now.
Mr. IT guy.
You can also do it page by page by copy the image. I did that the other day and loaded and dropped one in. But I had to do
So you
page
just
by
say that
page.
as
Very nice.
Yeah, I just copied that. I didn't go ahead and save it because it wasn't a logo or anything else. It was dynamic, so it's. But you saw how inserting the PDF did look nice. The text was in there, and it does. Your page numbering. One of the nice things about this new proposal is we have the border as a watermark, so it doesn't matter how many pages it has. It'll be consistent, and you can keep everything. So play with it and keep in touch with me, because I've tried.
So do it as an object or do it as a
Copy it as a picture.
as a
Picture, yeah, definitely don't try to drag a PDF or insert it as a picture or do anything else. So that'll cause major problems. So, wow, look at this perfect timing. Okay, well, we're having more classes. There's one last thing. So I got pretty geeky with Word when I was fixing all this code and doing all these different things. And one frustrating thing we've had for a while, something we depend on a lot, and it's funny because when I go talk to Applied, something that not a lot of agencies use are the summaries of insurance. So they haven't been hearing it from as many agencies because the summaries of insurance break when you get Office 2010. It just doesn't work in Word 2010. And they're not planning. I thought it was going to be in 11, and then I verified with people who already were, I don't like to move to version 11 until 11.1 is out because it does break some accounting things, or any software update. It's good to wait till .1, but 11 came out a few weeks ago, right before the Applied conference, and I talked to people, and the summaries still didn't work. But while I was doing this, I found...
got geeky on it.
Yeah, well, I saw how it was called. It was actually on I was having problems with the watermark going from 2003 to 2007, and there was a Microsoft update, actually.
I'm still stuck on that multi-layered.
Really had nothing to do with the wind down.
It had nothing to do with WinTam. It was all the Word 2010. So, and they had no plans on fixing it. But that's okay, because now Let's go to options. I actually haven't tested this, so I should.
I did.
This could be fun. We're going to
I
choose our
did
own
test it.
adventure.
Did you test it
Oh,
on
yeah.
the Word 2010?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. It makes me feel better.
Of course I did.
I hit OK.
Yeah, all personal stuff.
Normally it would just crash right here, and you'd get a conversion error.
Hmm? Hope this map's on there.
Yeah, this is
They
a
wouldn't
free
First
customer.
it'll pull everything, then it'll say it won't work.
Right.
And then it'll
And then it'll give you
Make
that
you
little
wait for a
box
minute.
that says, I'm sorry,
It just has an error.
you're out.
Yeah, get error with a little red box.
Yeah,
Come
it'll
up.
just give a little box right there inside.
Hey.
So we can do this.
Yeah, the summaries of insurance work. So
This is all you get, Melody. You figure it out.
So now you can
So what
use
did
it.
you do?
I just did the summaries. I just showed that the summaries work.
They work, no matter what system you're on.
I had to delete some registry keys from the Microsoft update, and
So I can do it from my computer.
you can do it from any computer now.
Oh, good.
So that way you can use them to send them out and use them for check sheets. You can use them for your renewal specs. You can use them. They don't send out in
And
a
you don't have to
nasty looking
go
form.
sit next to Patty
I
anymore.
have
Do
a
it.
question.
Well, only a couple people would do that.
Is, you used to be able to, pull Excel spreadsheets from, I used to have an auto schedule pulled from like the Casa you had done for me. Because that's a client who wants everything in an Excel spreadsheet. They don't
Mhm.
want it. And to accommodate them, a few years ago, you pulled one of those for me and I've saved it and I manually update it every year. And that's what I send to my client. And then but it's because more people, companies, everybody is asking for an Excel spreadsheet. And that pulled from the Accord app are we gonna have the ability to pull pull data from the Accord apps into an Excel?
No, but I mean, we can pull that for you whenever you need to. I mean, that'd be a lot quicker than you manually updating and double checking everything.
In whose mind? I mean, if I want it in like 10 minutes. I don't want it in 3 days. Unfortunately, I'm not asking enough in advance to have this stuff done.
Well, I've been kind of experimenting with it, so I don't have an answer yet. But I thought I was able to do something the other day and it was random. So still
Working it.
Still working.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good feedback though. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I've been-
But just that clients are like, seriously, I have a client who told me they do not want anything else in the mail again. I took that to heart.
I love that. That's
Well, it's BS. One person doesn't want anything in the mail. But when you're doing 234 auto ID cards and you put them in groups of 15 for them and you make an Excel spreadsheet numbering and these are so they can follow the list to know which file they're going to get those auto ID cards, they're like, I just read your email. I have to print these. So you're, but the Excel spreadsheet thing is like a pet peeve with them. Why can't you put it in an Excel? Something that can be edited back and forth for updating
Well,
purposes.
that obviously is, I mean,
That makes sense.
And we certainly want to be
Friendly.
helpful where a client wants something in a particular format. I want to be able to do that.
You can
But
also,
Excel's pretty common.
yeah, but you can also edit these if you do in Word and send them to them in a Word document. They can edit these as well.
Agreed,
But they
but
like the formulas.
But this one's
they
fun,
like
yeah.
that sorting function. I mean, some people. Tanya Mehmet is amazing with Excel. Did all her proposals in an Excel format and spreadsheets for the client, and you could sort by location, by this, I mean, the client is blown away, and you have, it's amazing what you can do.
If you can take our, schedule of insurance and move it from there to the, if you can take our app and move it into a proposal, why can't you take our app and move it into an Excel spreadsheet?
We're messing with it. It's not quite, I haven't quite
They're working on
figured
it.
it out.
I mean, like-
I have been working with it,
But
but I didn't want to say anything until we could actually
Yeah.
go, hey.
It's like almost.
Well, I mean, if you're pulling, I think we're talking about a couple different things here. If you're pulling anything that you pull into Word, you can pull into Excel.
Yeah, so you should be able to.
I mean, you can just let me copy this. Here we go.
So we could make a proposal and then
You just pull it into a
make
summary. Sure. I mean, you have to format it a little bit, but I mean, anything that's
But
in a
that-
table. I mean, you have to insert your header rows and do different things, but I mean, this will pull your schedule, and that's,
That's an Excel spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chubb is on this Cornerstone, wherever, giving those free classes on Excel.
Yeah.
Can we set this up so someone
Absolutely.
that don't know how
Yeah,
to use
we think that's a
Excel?
great
We've
idea.
talked about that, yeah. A few people have done them already.
I did them through the Golden Eagle.
Right.
But of
And
course,
they
I
did it
forgot
from
them all
2003.
I don't ever use Excel.
So we have, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, if you guys, we definitely want to encourage it. We definitely think that, it really helps to get training and the more familiar. A lot of the challenges when we found somebody has a problem with proposals, it was a word issue. They just didn't know how to. There was a way for them to do it. Copy something out of a table in Word and put it into Excel that would have saved them a lot of time. So if you guys, especially what we think is best is if there's a class coming up, if you can grab 4 or 5 people, get together and say, hey, we've got this class coming up. Let's do it in the small conference room so we can talk, so we can ask questions. It's better than doing it at your desk. It's good to be in a group with a group of people and do it. So
Is that one free, Karen?
Well, that's not
Yeah,
Well,
Cornerstone.
Email on it.
Carol
Yeah.
has sent
I did
everybody
too,
an
I
email.
just deleted it.
Yeah, we all got the email on that one.
Well, I saw that and said, I need it.
Me too. I gotta tell you,
Is there on there one for Monday at 2
They got
o'clock?
all different ones, so you could schedule when.
I know Davey and I are gonna do one on
17th,
Monday.
yeah, 2 o'clock.
there's
So
a
maybe we should do one.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm
a
in.
great idea.
and if we get enough people, we'll do it in here.
Right, or in the small conference room or wherever makes sense. But
Yeah.
I'm sure a
the
lot of those will want to do it.
And
that's
I
why
like
we
that
started
idea.
with Excel basics.
and Karen, I like the idea because one of the things I'm enjoying about these lunch and learns, I'm learning a lot. But I also think that we collectively gain a lot from this because each of you has an idea or a way of doing something. And if that helps us all get better, that's terrific. What I've asked Patty and Kyle to do though is to try to establish kind of the curbs on the road. I want to stay inside the curbs. I don't want to jump it. So that I want us to have a common look and feel to what we deliver to a client. That's part of it. I don't know who it was that told me this, but it really struck me. Our proposal is one tangible thing we do. It's something that we actually leave with the customer or we give them that they can put their hands on and say, this is what an insurance broker does. We need that to be something that's consistent, that looks the same year in and year out, that has the same kind of content, the same kind of information. How we get there, whether it's Word, Excel, whatever else, that's what I want us all talking about. That's where we're going to get better. And things like Cornerstone, just give you one quick minute on Cornerstone. Chubb has a relationship with a small number of the agencies in the world. They are pretty selective. The top 5% of their agencies, they designate as something called Cornerstone. There's only 192 of them. We're one. And for Cornerstone, they try to do little value-added things. Allegedly, and I use that term loosely, we're supposed to get more favorable underwriting. I don't know about any of you, and I'm not feeling the love. But they do little things like these sort of training classes, and you will see more stuff as we get to know more about what Cornerstone is offering. We'll try to push more of that out because I'd really like us to avail ourselves of these things. It'll help us get better. Also, and this is a confession on my part, Kyle Fran and I think Larry went to an Excel class maybe a year and a half ago. This is going to sound very conceited. I actually think I'm pretty good at Excel. I can do more with macros and pivot tables than most people I know. I know what I'm doing. I learned something that had changed 13 years before that I've been working around for 13 years. And I challenged the teacher about it, going, well, that must be new with Excel 2010 or whatever the hell we were doing. She's like, no, I think that was 97. And what it was, and just to save you, is it's a recorder for macros, and all the macro is repeating a function over a vast amount of data. I'd actually been writing these macros, so some of them can be 3,000 or 4,000 lines. I learned that you can hit a record button and do that in like 8 seconds. I was really happy that day. I say that partly because it makes me look bad, but also because these sorts of things, what we're doing here, what we're going to do in next week's Lunch and Learn, what we're doing as all of this is designed to get us thinking and talking, find ways to work through things, because even if all it does is remind us or makes us aware of something that's changed that we just never use, we don't use Excel very much, or we don't edit things in Word very much, that makes the whole thing worthwhile. If we each of us every once in a while has an aha moment, then this thing is a grand slam home run as far as I'm concerned. But I do want to say that in this class, this is about what we present. The other class, the one we're going to do next week, is all about procedure. And that one, I want to hear the input, but I also want us to be clear is that if we have workarounds, we need to put them aside and learn how to do it right, because that's ultimately what's going to make us all better. It kills me when I hear that we do something that there is a quick fix for or an easy solution to, and so that's what I want us to be paying attention in those classes for. Okay?
So we're having a meeting next week?
Yeah, next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
That was our regular set.
So this was like not.
This is
special.
This is special for the people that ride to school in the short bus.
So are we going to get to use this proposal now? Or?
It's in there.
It's live now.
And what was it called?
Well,
So it's under proposals, the regular place to pull them, right?
yeah.
Yeah, but it's got a different name, obviously, because it's a new
what's
one.
it called?
So I think it's ZSIG. Let's go over here.
And there's still things that we're working on. Still things that we're going to be adding to it. So as we go along, we'll say, oh, we've added additional pages. That
I did a proposal yesterday and I was having a horrible time.
Well, I think that's because you're copying the Adobe into it.
No, I was not copying Adobe.
Oh, ZSIG.
Yeah,
Okay.
ZSIG, right down there.
Because our old proposal is a Word-based format, and the new proposal is a Word-based format. They're still both Word-based formats.
I
Using
wasn't
Word.
copying Adobe.
So that's where we're all going from now on.
I would go in there and start using that.
I saw you added some stuff. That's good. Like when they were mentioned in the meeting yesterday about the executive liability.
Well, we're working on that one.
Oh, I thought I saw something.
You did. We're
That's
working
good.
on
It's a
it.
start.
Well, exactly.
It's got a time on it.
You may have seen it,
And
but
one of the things
it's not
also,
quite in there yet.
one of the things also I
That's what I'm
want
saying,
to make
so
clear
it's not in there
is,
yet.
I think it was 2004 when the proposal we had been using was created, and in the ensuing 7 years we've done nothing to improve it. And some of the data that was in it, as I mentioned yesterday, particularly old. I especially still get humor out of the deductible analysis. This isn't going to be something that's, fixed in place for the next 2 years, 7 years, 27 years. It's something that he's going to always have a beta, for the lack of a better term. He was talking about how applied releases 11.0, 11.1, 11.2. What they do is they have a beta or a test version that they're running all the time, that they're trying things that they want to improve or whatever else. We're going to do the same thing. And that's with the proposal, is that we're always going to have a beta version that we're taking your input, trying to find ways to solve or improve. And then when we have enough of it that it's a meaningful upgrade, then we'll do it. We'll release a new one, ZSIG.1 or whatever. But the point is that I want this feedback. We really need to get ideas because, again, you have a customer that likes to see things in Excel. That's an important thing. We want to deliver to people what they want.
Yeah, if they create an Excel document, like say they started on their end, okay, that this is going to be what you're using on the go back and forth basis for updating. They like to see that in their proposal or in their, it's kind of started with, I've got one on Agriculture Update, and there's absolutely nothing on that account that's in an Accord app. So everything is Excel spreadsheets.
Understood. I mean, and again, part of that, like you probably have to do, you still have to populate the things in the system in order to get information someday. But that's going to be a rare exception. And again, we're always going to be able to find that one account that has something a certain way. We have roughly 3,500 clients.
And most of them are probably all the same.
And if there are 50 that are that unique and specific, I'll be shocked. There's probably 15. And so that means that 3,485 of them, doing what we're talking about here is going to make your life simpler, smoother, easier, and more recreatable. And so that's the, that's the thing I want us to be paying attention to. The exceptions, I understand, and we're going to have to deal with those on a one-off basis. But the rules need to be something that we do adhere to, okay? Anything else?
Yeah, and I want to say, definitely please give us some feedback, because for two reasons. Number one, we tested this on multiple computers, terminal servers. We didn't have any problems, but we didn't test it on all of your computers. So if you have something come up, give us a call. Don't tell everyone that it's broken and it's not working. Give us a call. We'll come over, fix whatever's wrong with your computer. There
we
may be
also
a
learned
setting.
something new today, though. It's not broken, doesn't work. It's a piece of shit.
That's right. That's right. So let us know if you have trouble with it.
Home.
But also, if you guys have comments, because John brought up a good point, we want to try and shoot for quarterly beta updates where we change the design, we're doing different things. But on a monthly basis, we want to be taking things from these meetings and the conversations we have and actually get them implemented by the next month's meeting. Like we're going to have some of the executive liability, and I'd like to have the sales information pull automatically and get that all populated in the producer. So if you see things like that, let us know and we'll talk about, it'd be nice if it got a little bit better every month.
Do you all put the, companies' brochures, form brochures, like if you're presenting gold, do you put in their brochure for the contractor gold or the manufacturer platinum? I do too. I just didn't know, that's something that everybody did, because it always added some color.
Oh, yeah.
Well, add some,
something.
It adds some color. It also adds some
Valuable
some
stuff
meaningful information. Yeah,
It's just
meaningful
in
information.
addition to the proposal. This is just the proposal, and then you have stuff that goes with the
So do
forms,
you
endorsements.
drop them into put them in?
I've never dropped them in.
Documents.
I've dropped them in every once in a while.
I didn't know how to drop them in.
Yeah, so you guys know how to do that now, so you can play around with it.
Now we can actually drop them in.
And that's a good, but what may happen, and not to rain on anyone's parade, but you may do it and you may find that they have artwork or content that clashes with our border or that doesn't fit necessarily. So what we recommend is, if that happens, go up to the table of contents, and number 8 is additional information. You can just put it in that back part, so it doesn't mess up your page numbering and everything. So that's an option too.
But it should go with the coverage.
It should go with
in the section of that coverage.
If it's the property gold, it should go with the property. It shouldn't go in the back.
Yeah, because then you have a whole 1,000 groups of forms that don't correlate with whatever you're working on. I usually put them with mine section that they belong
Yeah,
with.
that's how I do it too.
And with each individual quote has their own stuff.
So that's why the numbering thing is going to be very hard for me.
It still helps though, even if you have 5 or 6 pages, everything after that continues to work. So it still helps people when you say, let's go to page 67 and the producer's there.
And those numbers over there aren't going to correlate with the actual page. That's just
No, it's going to be with
section.
That's
section.
I know. So those page numbers don't.
Then it would number that.
You can take.
What do you mean they don't?
Yeah, of course.
Tina, they are very helpful, because if I have 60 pages in tab 2, go to tab 2, and then let's go to page 38
Under
in tab 2, and there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the page numbers on the proposal are a huge advantage. As a salesman, when I'm sitting with a client, that's very valuable. I don't know how many times I've sat there
you've got lost.
let me have your proposal. Let me turn you to the right page. Okay, there you go. It's clunky, it's clumsy, and you lose what, as a salesperson, I'm trying to get accomplished, which is to develop a rhythm in this presentation that gets me to, here's where you want to buy.
It's always been a complaint by producers.
So to drop it in, we use it as an object.
You can drop it in and use it as an option. If you don't like how it looks, I don't see it as the end of the world if there's 5 pages that obviously came from the carrier that are in between 58 and 59. I still think the page numbers help the rest of the document.
So you think even though they're not consecutive, that there's a break in there that it won't be a problem?
I think that you're going to find that's a
Not a big
rare
enough
thing. I
break.
think most of the time you're going to be able to
This is a
insert them
color
as an object just fine.
illustration.
In those rare occasions, again, that a few times out of the hundreds of times you'll do this, that it doesn't, Then, like Cal said,
I
if it's,
insert XMod worksheets, law terms on every, I insert stuff on every proposal. I really do not insert pages. So I'll have to drop every proposal. So
They need to take your page numbers.
I don't. Well, she'll probably like it.
yeah, I think she would like that a lot. I mean, I've been on a proposal with Melody, and I've had exactly what I just described for you happen. And if you drop them in as an object like we're talking about, then page 60 is your XMod worksheet.
But
you know,
just don't use the page numbers on those? Is that what you're saying?
no, what
No,
I'm
once
saying
you
is
drop
if
it
you
in,
drop
it
it
makes
in
a page
here,
number.
it automatically
As
updates.
objects.
Correct.
Mhm.
It will automatically
Automatically adds it.
update the number of pages, and that will be, you know, if you.
Even if it's like a 30-page object, I can still drop it.
Yeah,
Correct,
Yeah.
because it'll become 30, 31, 32. Each page
Yeah.
of your object becomes its own page. The numbering
That's
all
new,
follows
the
sequentially,
numbering.
so you won't lose that's the easiest way to keep the numbers straight.
Okay.
And if you have trouble, there's things I can do to different PDFs with flattening and removing layers. So if you are having trouble with one, email it to me and I'll get it back to you as quick as I can. And you know that should help
It's gonna
too.
be harder. You're just gonna have a learning curve on it.
Yeah, in the experimenting process, yeah, we're gonna have to experiment a little bit more about some of these things, and we've been trying to do that to try and get as much information experimented off first. But you know, we just want to make sure this was rolled out as quick as possible. So, haven't finished experimenting on everything yet, but
The beginning looks good.
Well, we're never
Trying.
gonna. We're
Yeah.
also never gonna finish
Yeah.
experimenting.
No,
I
it's
mean,
gonna be
that's
constantly changing.
yeah, so
we gotta
we need to roll
constantly
it out.
learn, or we're gonna be losing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Well, we've already been behind, so.
Yeah, it's been working.
correct. Correct. Yeah.
Make it halfway somewhere.
An interesting pushback. We won't keep you any longer, but yesterday we mentioned a service we're looking into for benefits called Zywave, and I learned that Lockton, Burnham Benefits, Precept, Sullivan Curtis all use this, and so they were showing us all these cool brochures and emails and things that we could send. And all our competitors are already doing it. Why do we want to have a me too? He says, well, I guess maybe you don't, but right now you're at a deficit. They have it and you don't. I thought, wow, you know, that's a good point. It's kind of what we're doing here is none of this is rocket science. And some of it is Me Too stuff, but it makes us better. And it keeps us raising the bar, raising our game. And so, yeah, I mean, I can understand from your perspective, maybe this sounds like a little more work. I think in the long run, it's a lot less. And the reason it's a lot less is if it automatically renumbers your pages for you, it keeps the flow simpler. As you get used to doing this, you'll find, just like you were talking about earlier, where you copy and paste, or it will become so automatic that you don't even remember cognitively how you do it. You'll have to think about it. Let's see, it's Control A, then you won't have to. You will just do it as second nature. And that's the fun part about this. They've done a great job of trying to solve the majority of the things we'll face. We're going to face things. Things will come up that didn't work, like that goofy table for the table of contents. I understand it worked yesterday.
I was like, well.
Why it doesn't work today, I have no idea. I have that occasionally when I open a Outlook, you know, and it just doesn't respond. I don't know why it didn't do it this time.
Why
Anyway.
is it that we have a document called a table of contents that's going to list what's in our proposal, but in our actual tabs for the proposal it says index?
Oh,
The tabs in
you know the
Well,
tabs that you
we
guys
have a
ordered?
tab that says 1, 2, 3, 4,
Uh-huh.
5, which is obviously what
Matches
is
the table of
in your
contents.
deal, right?
Mhm.
But you begin with a thing called an index. I always thought
No
indexes
kidding?
were in the
You
end
guys ordered
of
it the
a-
word index instead of table of
Don't
contents.
have a tab that says table of contents.
Yeah,
No
we have a
shit.
tab that says index, and I thought index were in the back of it.
Well, appendix are usually in the back, and sometimes an index is too. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's our
We'll
tab.
definitely order the table of contents tab then.
Yeah.
That would be cool, because it's kind of funky. Like, I've
didn't
bought
know
it
that.
for a long time, but I've only used 2 of the ones that say index, because to me an index is always in the back, so you don't start from the back. But that's what our tab says.
You know, I've never actually noticed that. That's shameful.
Well, they're probably not putting it in there because it's embarrassing.
I think
We are.
I think
We
Ron
are.
puts it in
We're
there.
putting it all in there.
I know Patty puts it in there. I just never read it. But again, I spend some of my time trying to be a producer, so
Yeah.
we don't read.
Yeah, no problem.
So we're gonna get that changed to
Yeah.
the table of contents, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll do that because we obviously
Then we'll
want
begin at the beginning.
a novel concept, isn't it?
Cool.
Okay.
Because otherwise we might want one that says philosophy and.
Oh, and descriptions, all of that stuff.
There you go.
Carrie, you come
Okay,
up with
everybody.
some really good
Thanks very much for
ideas.
your time today. Have a good afternoon. Do you have a sign-in sheet for these guys today?
Yeah, on the printer.
On the printer?
Yeah,
Cool.
It doesn't start at 2.
I'll pass it around. Like,
Because it's Eastern Standard.
Push this one.
11 o'clock. Is it like an hour? Do you know how long it goes?
No, last about an hour.
Still need to
You have-
eliminate some of those pages that we elected to get rid of.
Was Gary still in here? I didn't notice. Did he step out?
he probably did.
Okay, because I need to make sure. I did not realize
I don't sit in any of them
the
because I don't.
way we
really know.
have that, it says index.
Yes.
You can't have a table of contents.
I don't even know what
A year ago, asking for that.
Okay.
A year
You know,
ago.
Patty-
And we just all like, we blew it past it because we were lucky to, we were so
Patty,
happy to
I
get them.
I have 550
I know.
emails a day.
I know.
Some of them are going to go over my head.
That was the, yeah, I remember that. But we were so happy to get them, anything at that point, I think that didn't really matter.
Okay.
I'll talk to him.
Would you please?
He was there.
For that part?
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
Do we want to delete some of those pages that we said we might get rid of before they start going and using it?
Sure.
Okay.
And then just separate those two. I think if we separate those two things and add the one initial column. The first one.
Well, I think we need to
Beautiful.
talk more about
Yep.
the binding and premium because I know there's different things that different people want.
I won't spend too much time talking about it. We need to.
Because I thought we had agreed to just put the initials along the side, move the binding to a separate page so we could do that to the carriers.
Right.
Okay, okay. I thought it was more involved now.
No. Trying to make it sound. And then just the vehicle schedule one, make that a separate page and put the little title on it. I think that was,
Well, that's more involved. I've got to get.
that's, I mean,
But yeah, I can definitely.
Oh my goodness.
you didn't notice the other whole section of food?
Well, like 50 people said they were coming, and then it turned out to be.
I know.
Is that right?
It'll get eaten. Trust me.
Yes, I have no doubts about that.
Look at how those words, did you see those?
Which one?
Where they were like, if you look at that document, see that whole first two paragraphs? I don't know what language that is. That happened to me the other day. That same exact thing happened to me the other day. I have no idea why. And the rest of the
Somebody
time,
copied off the internet.
yeah, somebody copied off the internet.
It was just bottom. It's just code.
Yeah, it was just that one. I had one that like two paragraphs or something came
Where it
out
looks
weird.
like Swahili.
Yeah.
Or just gibberish.
Yeah. I'm going, did I? And I'm like, did I not look at this when I was typing?
I do that sometimes when you look at that, when you copy something, usually, like you said, it's code.
Yeah.
But you look at it, the first thing I do is I look at the keyboard, but I have my hands.
Yeah, my hand somewhere else. Yeah. And it's usually me because I usually have my. Because I'm not looking normally.
Like this?
Yeah, and then make that box smaller.
Yeah.
I think they would really like that.
No, I think that's very important.
And then just move the binding over to a
No, I
separate page.
just was curious of where you got this. Just so weird.
Well, like you said, we were expecting a lot of people. Not as many showed up. No, you know how
Or whatever. I can do it myself every time I do it. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean?
No.
But I think you can do Excel. You can drop Excel spreadsheets into those things. I'm trying to remember. I thought
I just showed her how to drop an Excel spreadsheet to
No.
paste it into Excel.
No, I know, but there's that one time that I was able to move a vehicle schedule or property schedule into one. I can't remember. It was like, my mind went blank. So,
Something salesmanship 101. Tell them it's gold. Tell them again. Tell them it's gold. Tell them again. It will take time to wear down people's automatic.
so we're gonna put it.
Let me just, I need
He's
to get, I
thinking
need to
here.
print it out and look at it and not kink my neck like this. And let me do this from my desk. And then you want the driver's one redone too, right?
Oh no, the driver was right.
I thought you wanted it on a
The vehicle schedule
vehicle
needs
needs
to
to
be
be moved on its
yeah,
own page.
on
Okay.
its own page,
okay.
and then move the auto symbols up underneath the, auto description of coverage. You know how we want to move that whole block up there. I mean, I could do it individually every time I do it. but-
No. What would help is if, because we've talked about so many different things, we could print those pages out and mark them.
Write them on again? Oh yeah, because my writing is so bad. I know. Should I type on them?
No, you're right. You can write.
Just write them.
Oh, my writing is horrible.
Maybe.
But I can get, if you scratch it, I ended up having, I probably have, I'm not kidding, 30 different proposals in my office right now, different versions that we're working on. So if we can just,
all you have.
if we can print copies in here now of what it is and then mark it up, I can do that today and get those fixed.
Can I be a scavenger?
Yes,
Oh
yes,
my
please
God.
help us. We got too much.
Yeah, is there anything here?
Yes.
There's a ton.
Oh, did they put it in the lunchroom already?
Maybe
Stuff's
the other-
being moved. Oh, it's tons of. Oh.
It didn't go horrible.
No. No, I thought you did real well with the rectangle. I think you did great.
It's just in the kitchen, griping and complaining. She didn't have this yesterday.
So what?
Of course. I said, Naomi could use this time today because I asked her yesterday.
It's, however, Carol, just so you know, just so you know, the same things that we talked about today, you did have yesterday. It's just that people
Well,
are using
I
it.
told her we didn't have it. Well, I got this first here. Hey.
No one's gonna be happy. Not everybody's gonna be happy, okay? It's just,
I
I know it.
cannot tolerate that kind of touch. It makes me crazy.
Yeah, that's what it was too quiet anyways.
Thanks for using WebEx. Please visit our website at www.webex.com.
Thank you for letting me vent.
You can vent all you want.